Welcome to the Dougie Wuggy Story Hour. Today, we're starting something new. We're telling stories that come from the Norse mythology. Now, the Norse mythology comes from the Vikings who lived in like Norway, Sweden, Iceland, and that part of the world. And they were explorers, and they say the Vikings were some of the first people that actually came to North America, even before Christopher Columbus, way back in like 1100 or 1200, the Vikings actually discovered America. Well, of course, there were Native Americans living here, but they were the first Europeans to come here. And they had a bunch of stories about the gods and goddesses. Do you want to hear some of the stories about the gods and goddesses?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Let me first tell you who some of the gods and goddesses are, okay? Well, the king of the gods, his name is Odin. His wife's name is Frigga. She's the queen. There's Freya, who is the most beautiful of all the goddesses, and all the guys want to marry her, but she's very picky. She's like, no, 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 no. And a lot of the gods have a crush on her. And then there's Sif. Has very long hair all the way down to her ankles. And she's married to Thor. Some of you have probably heard of Thor.
Yeah.
Who's heard of Thor?
Me.
What is Thor famous for?
His lightning.
And his hammer, right?
His hammer.
He's got a hammer. Do you know who made the hammer for Thor? The dwarfs. That's a whole other story. I'll tell you guys one day. And Thor's hammer is famous because whenever he throws it, it always comes back to him. And he can defeat monsters and all kinds of stuff. He's a protector of the gods and goddesses. And then there's Balder, who is supposed to be the most handsome of the gods, and he rides around on a flying pig that was made by the dwarfs. A flying pig? Seriously? Yeah, it's true. And then there is, let's see. Oh, there is Tyr, the one-armed swordsman. You know how you know why he only has one arm?
Why?
His other arm was bitten off by a giant wolf. That's another story I'll tell you guys sometime. There's a lot of stories in this mythology. But one of the most famous gods is called Loki. Now, let me tell you about Loki, because he's an important character. He's half good and half bad. Loki is sometimes very good, and sometimes he's very naughty. His mother was a giant, and the giants are the bad guys. So part of him is bad, and part of him is good. Okay? He has a lot of powers. For example, he's very smart. He's very tricky. He's called the trickster god. He's a shapeshifter. He can transform into various creatures. He can fly. When he wants to fly, he turns into an eagle. Or, yeah. There's one story where he turns into a snake, and okay, so on and so on. Okay? And he's very clever. So, anyway, this story is called How the Gods and Goddesses Got the Wall Built Around Their City, which is called Asgard. Now, back in the day, the gods and goddesses lived in a valley, and they had a city there. But there was one problem. The giants were always attacking them because the giants were their enemies. The giants were always trying to destroy the gods and goddesses. And the giants would just run down the valley. They'd be like, ah! And the gods would battle them. And, it just was not a good situation. And finally, the king and the queen said, you know what? Living in a valley is really not good. We need to live on top of a mountain. So that way, when the giants attack us, instead of running down a mountain, they're running up a mountain. And I'm more tired when they get there, and we can defend ourselves better. So they said, yeah. So they move, and they go to the top of a tall mountain, and they build a city there called Asgard. Asgard was made completely out of gold because that mountain was just tons of gold. And so they all built palaces out of gold. Every god and goddess had their own palace. okay? Their roads were made out of gold, like everything. And so they loved their city, but they said, you know what? We still need protection. We need to build a wall around our city. So when the giants attack us, they have to climb. You know the Great Wall of China?
Yeah.
So they wanted to build a huge wall around their city. So they tried to build a wall. But it turned out that they were not very good wall builders. They were kind of, they just, the walls kept falling apart. And then just when they thought they had a good wall, Thor, the mighty god, would just come and whack it with his hammer and knock it down. And they're like, dude, why did you knock down the wall? He said, hey, if I can knock down the wall, the giants can knock down the wall. Think about it. And they're like, yeah, that's true. He said, we're just not good wall builders. We need to get a professional wall building team here. So they make a contest. And they send out a letter or a note to all the different worlds. There's like 9 different worlds. I won't go into all the different worlds, and they said, whoever can build a wall around our city will get whatever reward they ask for from the gods and the goddesses. We will grant whatever wish you want. So all these people came. They're like, oh, I'm going to build a wall. I'm going to get my reward. And every time someone built a wall, Thor would just come and knock it down. And he'd go, weak, no, weak, bad wall, boom, smash, Thor smash. And they got very frustrated. And they're like, oh, we're never going to get our wall built. And then one day, this guy arrives with this very large horse. I mean, a very large horse. And the man is wearing a hoodie. You can't really see his face. And he looks very mysterious. And he goes, I will build the wall for you, me and my horse, whose name is Svaldi. We are professional wall builders. And they're like, okay, what's your name? He said, just call me Stranger. And they're like, okay, Stranger. Let's see what you got. Let's see what you can do in one day. So in one day, the man and the horse build a wall about as tall as from the floor to the ceiling. Now, those of you that are listening at home, the ceiling here at Montclair Elementary School on the stage is quite high, right, kids?
Yes.
Yeah. It's like as tall as a tree, basically. And in one day, they build a wall, I would say, as tall as the ceiling and about as far as from here to the parking lot up there, which is, maybe a couple of 100 yards. But the man really didn't do the work. The horse did like 90% of the work. The man basically just told the horse what to do. The horse would pick up these big blocks, boulders, put them in place, and stack them. And all the man did is like put the cement on. It's okay, put it here, put it. And he was really mean to his horse. He would like yell at him and get his whip and whip him and use bad words with the horse. And everyone's like, boy, this guy's really rough on his horse. And the horse was like, yes, master, yes, master. The horse could talk, by the way. And then at the end of the day, all the gods and goddesses come down and they're like, okay, Thor, do your hammer test on the wall. And Thor's like, okay. And he takes his hammer, he smacks the wall, and the wall is like perfectly fine. And Thor's like, okay, I'm going to hit it even harder. He smacks it again. Thor, smash! Bam! The wall was perfect. And Thor's like, okay, now that's what I call a wall. And Thor's like, yeah, this guy can build a wall. And so the king, whose name is Odin, and the queen, whose name is Frigga, said, we will make a deal with you, stranger dude. If you can build the wall around our city in 1 year, you will get whatever prize you want, whatever reward you want. Does anybody know how many days are in a year?
185.
No. Anyone know?
160. 165.
365 days. You were close. You got the last two numbers right. 365. And they said, okay, you have 365 days to complete the wall. If it takes longer than that, the deal's off. And the guy says, deal. And he shakes hands with the king. He shakes hands with the queen. And he said, you can't go back on this. I get whatever I want, right? And they're like, right. And then the king says, and you have exactly a year. Understood? He's like, understood. And the man and the horse start building the wall. Every day the wall gets bigger, taller, stronger, more amazing. And they're watching from their palaces. They're like, whoa, this guy is working. But like I said, the horse is doing like 90% of the work. And the man is really rough on his horse. I mean, whoa, he is not nice to his horse. But the horse is like his servant. He just does whatever his master says. And the wall gets bigger, taller, stronger, amazing. And after about maybe 6 months, after work one day, all the gods and goddesses come down and they're like, stranger, dude. They start calling him the dude. They're like, dude, wall's going pretty good, huh? He goes, oh yeah, I'll definitely be done. And they're like, okay, seems like you're going to finish in time. He said, oh, for sure. And they're like, okay, we would like to find out what it is that you want for your reward, because it might take us a while to get it, you know? Like we might have to travel to another world. We might have to ask the dwarfs to make something. So what do you want for your reward? They're like, do you want us to build you a palace out of gold? He's like, no. Do you want treasure? No. Do you want jewels? No. Then what do you want? And the man says something very shocking. He says, I want to marry one of the goddesses. And he looks at Freya, the most beautiful of the goddess, and he goes, I want to marry Freya. She must come and live with me as my wife. And then they're like, who are you? And Thor pulls down his hoodie, and he's one of the giants, one of the evil giants. And he's disgusting. He's ugly, and he's got warts all over his face. And she's just like, no. And Freya just faints, and all her sisters catch her. And they like fan her, and she's like, no. And he goes, a deal's a deal. If I finish the wall in 365 days, Freya must come and live with me as my wife. And he's got really horrible breath, and his teeth are all rotten, and it's just horrible. And then they're like, oh my gosh, we really got fooled here. And not only was he a giant, he was actually a very famous giant because his mother and father were the king and queen of the giants. He was the prince, and his name was Thrym. And they actually knew him. And they're like, Thrym. And he goes, yeah, I fooled you, huh? But the deal's a deal. He kept building the wall. The wall got bigger, taller, stronger. And finally, it was the last day of the year. It was day 365. And they only had one more boulder to put in place. It was the last boulder. But it was the biggest one, and it was the final one, and had to go to the top to complete the wall. And they woke up in the morning, and it was super hot. It was like the middle of the summer. And the man was like, I should say the giant was like, let's wait till the sun goes down. Because it's only going to take like an hour, maybe 2 hours at the most. It's just one more boulder. And so he goes back to sleep, and the horse, the big white horse named Svaldi, is like, I'm going back to sleep too. He goes to his barn, and he goes to sleep. About an hour later, this pretty little white horse comes down into the barn and goes, hi there, handsome. And Svaldi, the horse, says, huh? She goes, hi there, handsome. He's like, you're talking to me? You talking to me? She goes, of course. Who else would I be talking to? Did you know you're very handsome? He goes, what? Really? And strong? I've been watching you. Wow, you are super strong and cute. He's like, really? I thought I was ugly. My master always says I'm ugly. Oh, no. You are very handsome. I don't mean to be nosy, but are you married? He goes, no. Do you have a girlfriend? No. She goes, do you want to go on a date with me? He goes, what? Are you serious? Are you serious? You want to go on a date with me? Well, let's just go on a walk. He goes, okay. I just have to be back in a while. Oh, we'll be back in plenty of time. Because I have to finish the wall and stuff. Oh, yeah, I know. I've been watching you build the wall. Man, you're strong. He goes, yeah. And she goes, so what's your name? He goes, Svaldi. And she says, okay, Svaldi, come on. I want to show you the waterfall. There's a waterfall here? Oh, yeah, it's really pretty. And they start walking, and she starts telling him stories about the elves and the fairies. And he goes, tell me another story. Tell me another story. And he's falling in love with her. He has a massive crush on her. He's like, oh my gosh, this is so incredible. And he's never been in love before. He's always just been like a servant for his master. And she's really nice to him and really kind. And they go to the waterfall, and they go to this shady spot. And she goes, let's take a nap. I'm really tired. And so they lay down and take a nap. Meanwhile, back at the wall, it's 6 o'clock at night. And the giant wakes up and he goes, Svaldi, dude, time to finish the wall. He looks around. Svaldi, where the heck are you, dude? Bro, I need you. Svaldi, where are you? And he starts running around looking for his horse. His horse is 10 miles away, dreaming about his new girlfriend and thinking maybe we'll get married and we'll have a wedding. Yeah. And he can always dream, right? And the giant starts freaking out. He's looking for his horse. And 1 hour goes by, 2 hours goes by, 3 hours. He's searching everywhere for his horse, screaming for his horse, running up and down the mountains looking for his horse. And then it's 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock at night, 11, 11:30.
12 o'clock.
And then finally the giant and is like, oh my gosh, I think I have to do this myself. And all the gods and goddesses are watching this from their palace. They're like, he can't find his horse. And Freya's like, please don't let him finish. I cannot marry that ugly slob. No, don't let him finish. Don't let him finish. And then it's 11:45. The giant picks up the boulder, picks it up 3 inches and drops it on his right foot. He's like, ah! Ah! He breaks his right foot. He picks it up again. He drops it on his left foot. Ah! Oh my God! Ah! Now he's crippled. He's trying to put the boulder in place. He cannot finish. He's trying. It's 11:50, 11:55, and all the gods and goddesses come down, and they're watching the sand come through the hourglass until the final grain of sand comes down, and it's 12 o'clock midnight, and they're like, you didn't do it. Time's up, dude. You didn't finish the wall, so you don't get to marry Freya. And he's like, no, that's not fair. I tried. They're like, trying isn't good enough. A deal's a deal. And the giant gets so mad. He takes his, giants have these big clubs. He smashes the wall and it just breaks his club into toothpicks. And then Thor says, dude, you got 5 seconds to get out of here before I smash you in the head with my hammer. Thor, smash. And he's like, okay, Thor, you don't need to get angry. I'm leaving. And he runs away. And meanwhile, the horse wakes up and he goes, oh my gosh, I fell asleep. And he runs back and he goes, where's my master? Where's my master? And they're like, oh, he left. You were way late. He goes, no, I'll finish now. I'll finish the wall. Too late, dude. And then the little horse, the white horse, comes by and says, what's wrong, sweetie? Why are you so upset? I forgot. I fell asleep and I failed my master. And then the big horse says, well, but we're still boyfriend, girlfriend, right? I mean, maybe we'll get married one day. And the little horse says, I kind of changed my mind, actually. And she goes like this. And she turns into Loki. It was actually Loki, the god that can transform into different animals. And it was just a trick. It was a trick to lure the horse away from the wall. And when the big horse realized he had been tricked, he's like, no, Loki, you tricked me. And he goes, that's right, dude. And the horse got so angry, he bucks his back legs to try and knock over the wall. And even that giant horse could not destroy the wall that he had built. And he tries, and then Thor says, dude, you got like 5 seconds before I smash you. Thor smash. And the horse is like, okay, I'm leaving, dude. And he runs off. And Freya did not have to marry that ugly, disgusting giant. And they got their wall built. But the giant Thrym still wants to marry Freya, and he plays a trick on the gods, and that's chapter 2 of the story. And that is the story of how they got their wall built around Asgard. And that's it today for the Dougie Wuggy Story Hour. Yay! Tune in for chapter 2. Bye-bye.